Today, we will talk about causality. This is a very important part of all sciences. In fact, we cannot conduct our lives without understanding the causality behind phenomenon, and this idea is actually quite old. Tigers cause death, therefore, keep away from tigers. Don't eat stale food because that causes stomach upset. So, these are day to day things that the ancient people also must have understood. The seed of today causes the tree of tomorrow, and therefore, plant the seed where you want the tree to be. That is the start of agriculture. So, some rudimentary idea of causality must have been apparent to even the ancient people, but a thorough theoretical understanding of that took time to take root. In fact, it went through stages, and we will develop the idea through the stages it went through. In fact, today we cannot really conduct our lives without the understanding of causality, let alone doing science. Science rests on causality. In fact, all the theories in science are found in our attempt to find the cause of something that happens. If I release a ball from my hand, it will fall. What causes the fall? Newton probed the question and came upon the idea of gravity. We see fossils and we see the animals living today, obviously they have changed. What caused the change? Darwin probed this and we got the theory of evolution. In fact, all theories are developed in our attempt to understand the cause of something. Even though causality is such a important phenomenon, you can say a doctrine in science, still what is the cause of something, what can be said to be the cause of an event, that is not very easy to pinpoint, and there have been quite a lot of debates regarding how to understand causality. But in going through the course of evolution of that idea of causality, let us start from the person who first did a somewhat detailed analysis of causality, that is Aristotle. So, we will talk about Aristotle's causality. Aristotle looked at the problem of causality from the point of view of whatever happens, you can look at it from 4 different angles. Let me give an example, the same example that Aristotle gave. Suppose there is a statue, say a marble statue, and you are asking what is the cause of that marble statue, how did it came about. Aristotle says that you can probe this question from 4 different angles. First, it is made of marble, and therefore, the material with which it is made, if that material were not there, obviously marble statue would not be there. So, the material is a cause, he said that is the material cause. Then he says that unless the sculptor was there, there would not be any sculpture. So, the person, the agent, not only the person, the agent who made it happen, that agent should be there, and he said that is the efficient cause. The agent who makes it happen. But the form of that sculpture must have been there in the sculptor's mind before he even started to work on the stone. So, the form of the sculpture must be there, that is also a cause according to Aristotle. This is according to him the formal cause. So, what is the formal cause? The form of the sculpture that was there in the sculptor's mind, that is the formal cause, because if that form were not there, the idea were not there, the sculptor would not be able to make it. Just there being a sculptor would not help. And then there is the sculpture must have been made to serve a purpose, an objective, a goal. So, that is according to him the final cause. So, Aristotle says that in order to find the cause of anything, you have to look it from these 4 angles, and then you can find 4 different types of causes. Following Aristotle's time, following the Greek and the Roman times, the Middle Ages started, and during that period practically all the causes, all the other causes were became secondary, and only the final cause became primary, because why does anything happen? What is the cause of anything that happens? People attribute it to the will of God. So, why do things happen? Because the God willed it. So, that became the final cause. So, for a long time, for about 1000 years, people did not worry about all these different causes, people only talked about the final cause. And as we know, the Middle Ages were ultimately gave way to what is known as the Renaissance, and during the Renaissance people started looking at everything from a different perspective, different point of view, and the towering figure of the Renaissance period was naturally Galileo. We have come across him. Galileo actually in his writings did not give a detailed exposure to the problem of causality. He only said that final cause, he rejected the idea of a final cause and said that material cause is something I can accept, efficient cause is something I can accept, formal cause, the form of the thing in the sculptor's mind, that is a part of the sculptor himself. So, therefore, it is not necessary. So, that way he sort of shortened the list of possible causes, but it was not a very detailed exposition. A detailed exposition we see in the period just after the Renaissance, because as we have seen during the Renaissance, Bacon, Galileo, Descartes, they gave the way to the direction of science. Following them, an important person made a contribution to the idea of causality, that is Hume. He said that causality is something that can be pinpointed. If you have to say that something is the cause of something, that for example, A causes B, if you have to say that, then A must satisfy a few criteria. What are the criteria? According to that, according to Hume, the law of precedence. The law of precedence, which means that if I have to say that A causes B, then one necessary criterion is A must precede B, law of precedence. Second, he said that the law of contiguity. Contiguity means in close proximity, which means that the cause and the effect should be in close proximity in both space and time. That means, if a murder has been committed, the murderer should be in the close proximity in space and time. So, obviously, that stands to reason that it should not be widely separated. A murder has been committed in Kolkata, the cause is somewhere in the New York. So, this is not a feasible situation. And the third one, he said the law of constant conjunction. That means, he says that whenever A happens, B happens. Every time A happens, B should happen. If that is found, then we can say A is causing B. So, according to Hume, a cause, in order for us to say something is the cause of something else, A is causing B, it has to follow, it has to satisfy these three criteria: precedence, contiguity and constant conjunction. But soon after, other philosophers noticed certain problem of these laws. For example, Immanuel Kant, a German philosopher, he pointed out that how about precedence? Suppose I place a heavy iron ball on a sofa. The sofa will make a dent, right? There will be the dent will appear on the sofa. But it is not that the ball is placed on the sofa first and then after some time the dent appears. In fact, the dent appears simultaneously. If that is so, can we say that that A precedes B? It is clear that the placement of the heavy ball is the cause of the appearance of the dent. But can we say that A was placed before the dent appeared? No. They actually happened simultaneously or almost simultaneously. So, he said that it is more appropriate to say that the effect cannot precede the cause. So, there was a correction offered, that is, the law of precedence had to be corrected. Law of contiguity. Law of contiguity, you can see that why do tides happen? Tides happen because of the effect of a far object, the moon. The moon's attraction causes the tides, and so the cause and the effect are widely separated in space. Obviously, here it is not followed, it is violated. And the law of constant conjunction, it's easy to understand it today, the problem with law of constant conjunction. That is, suppose you want to say that a specific bacterium is the cause of the disease malaria. A specific bacteria are cause of the disease malaria. But every time a person is infected by that bacteria, the disease might not appear. That depends on the person's own physical resistance. So, even though the bacteria is the cause, it does not follow the law of constant conjunction. Every time the person may not fall sick. So, therefore, there are problems with Hume's causality. In fact, if you look at it carefully, you will find that using Hume's causality, it is possible to infer that night causes day. You will notice that night causes day, that statement satisfy all the criteria. Precedence, yes. Contiguity, in the same place nights happen and then days happen, and then constant conjunction, every time a night happens, it will be followed by the day. and therefore, it follows all the criteria, yet night does not cause the day, we know that. The bigger problem was philosophically that Hume was an empiricist. His logic was that everything that we say in science should be based on empirical observations, experience. So, empirical observation should be basis of our knowledge. And then he said that what actually are our empirical observations? That appearance of cloud in the sky and the rain, we have repeatedly seen that there are cloud in the sky and then there is a rain. We have repeatedly seen that, and then our mind has established a connection. So, there is no causality as such. The causality is our mind's connection according to Hume, but Immanuel Kant strongly objected to that. He said that since all sciences are developing following causality, that must be a physical phenomenon, objective phenomenon. It exists independent of whether we understand it or not, or whether our mind establishes a connection or not. That connection, causal connection, exists. But if it does so, if it exists, then there should be some way of actually pinpointing what is the cause. In fact, the first step was taken by Francis Bacon. I mean, he said that when we are trying to apply inductive logic, we have to find out what is the cause of what, and one way of finding the cause is, if say you are trying to find out the cause of a phenomenon B, then find out a few instances where B happens and a few instances where it does not happen. By analyzing the antecedent situation, you will be able to pinpoint what is the cause. Later, John Stuart Mill took this idea forward and proposed very important laws that have to be followed in order to understand causality. So, we are now talking about Mill's causality. Since Mill proposed it as a way of conducting inductive logic, these are also called canons of induction. His point was that in order to find out causality, we have to have some operational procedure with which we can design experiments, we can do observation, so that we can actually find the cause of something that happens. The first one, he said, the law of agreement. A situation in which the event happens, multiple situations in which the event B under consideration happens. If we analyze the antecedent situation, we might find various things existing in the antecedent situation just before the occurrence of B. And it may so happen that the antecedent situations differ in all respects except one. That means, they agree on only one aspect and differ in all the respects, but in both instances the event B happened. In that case, we can say that the phenomenon A, the factor A, which was common to both these situations, which was the point of agreement between these situations, is the cause. So, the event B happens, and before that there was various things. Another instance in which B happened, again there were various things. And this could be different things. For example, P, Q, R, S, W, V, O and P, for example. So, you see they differ in all respects except the factor P, and this is the factor in which the situations agree. Mill says that then we can say that the P is the cause of P, because only in that respect the situations agree, and in both the situations the event B happened. So, that is a law of agreement. The second was the law of difference. In this case, we have to look for a situation where the event B happens and another situation when the event B does not happens. And again we examine the antecedent situations, we find that something exists, the various things are present in the antecedent situation. Again in this case various things are present in the antecedent situation. These are factors present in the antecedent situation. Now, here we see here in this case it is P, R, S, but it differs in one respect, for example, O. So, you see the antecedent situation agree in all respects except this factor. And here in this case they agree on all factors except this factor. So, whenever this factor Q is there, it happened, this phenomenon happened, and the factor Q is not there, it is better to write here not another thing, but let me write here not Q. Q was not there. So, if Q was there, it happened. If the Q was not there, it did not happen, and in all the other factors they agreed. They differed only in the existence or non-existence of the factor Q. In that case, we can say the Q is the cause of B. That was the law of difference. We will continue with that in the next class.